Well, from the catwalk to the stage, actor Vuyo Dabula, best known for his role as Gaddafi in Generations, is back to acting after a one-year break due to gun violence. Dabula joins me now in studio to talk about his journey and recovery and his return to scenes on Showmax's The Butch of Soul. Vuyo, good to have you on the show in one piece.
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome,
in
man.
One piece, absolutely.
So, we obviously in the intro talked about that incident of gun violence. Set you back about 15 months recovery, recuperation,
much, yeah.
And you coming back on the scene. How did you manage that recovery process? You know, what was going through your mind as you were on the mend?
Well, I think at first I was just thinking, okay, who'd want to kill me?
Did you come up with any answers?
What were the reasons? Because I didn't get any warning. Nobody called me, nobody texted me.
Yeah.
And it just happened that, one day I was just in my car trying to send a, SMS.
Yeah.
And then these guys pulled up next to me and then cocked the gun, no warning. And then he just started shooting, but I drove off.
Yeah. Well, must have been a shock to the system. And I suppose it gets you thinking post that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredibly, like, a close call. You come to terms with your mortality.
Yeah.
But luckily, the guy inches up, it could have been my neck, it could have been my head. And then, I just drove myself to the hospital. And then, I came back after, I think, 2 weeks from the hospital. And it kind of, but these things are not so bad, these terrible things that happen.
Yeah.
If they don't kill you, as the saying goes,
what doesn't kill you
makes you stronger, definitely. So I think I've had a lot to think about, obviously, about my life and what I need to do, refocus myself, and just it did that for me, kind of grounded me and gave me a new sort of outlook on life. As strange as that might sound. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Butch of Soul, and what can audiences expect from your character? What drew you to it?
I think the origin story for me, the villain's origin story. Every time I've always played characters that you meet and they're already evil. Yeah. They've got like nefarious sort of disposition, right? And then with this guy, he's an honest, I wouldn't say honest, but he's an innocent. He's not into crime. He's got a product that he wants to put out there, and he feels that it would be very helpful to, society, and he's going to make a lot of money out of it. And then, something terrible happens in the story pertaining to the product that he's trying to sell. And then from then on, he starts trying to kind of cover his, protect his legacy, protect himself, and get out of trouble, And that's when he begins to kind of become the villain of the story. Yeah. So when you meet him, he's not a villain in the beginning. He's just...
He develops into...
So that drew me to the character. And, I just kind of felt like that this is real life. You can actually live long enough to become a villain.
Yeah.
And find yourself in the thick of things that you never thought that you would ever, find yourself in. So basically, I think that's the primary reason why I did the character.
Yeah. Does this role differ in any way to roles you've played in previously?
Yeah, I mean, the men that I've played are quite powerful from the beginning, and he's got some power. He can shape things, he can make things happen. But he, like I said, in the beginning, he's more of an innocent. And then he kind of develops into this powerful, sort of crime, figure. And and he just digs himself deeper and deeper into the dark hole, by trying to kind of fix things and protect himself and keep himself out of the long hands of the law.
Yeah. Now these themes are pretty deep. How do you think they resonate with today's audiences?
Which themes?
Some of the themes that come out of the characters that you play, or the person of the role that you play in the Butch of Soul.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, when you look at, for instance, if you look at social media, everybody's just putting forth their best foot.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, has the right thing to say. Everybody's always correcting somebody else, you know. And I think with him, you know, he's stuck in this space where he is this upstanding member of society. You know, he probably gets invited to all the, you know, the great events and what have you. Probably does charity, that's his backstory. But, you know, at the back of everything, where everybody's not looking, this guy is doing some nefarious stuff right at the end, though. But he started off as a good person. I say, look, don't judge people that, you know, have fallen and have tripped, because there's always a chance for you to trip and to fall. You know, that's the other thing that I saw, besides just how people are always putting their best foot forward. And that's the nature of who we are. But, you know, secretly, in the back of, you know, things, what exactly is happening, you know? The truth is always lurking, you know, in the darkness somewhere. You in your beautiful suit and tie and everything. You know, that's the best foot that we put forward, and we are not willing to kind of tell the truth about ourselves, and, you know. And then also this idea that, you know, he is, he's just a, you know, an innocent person that's just trying to save his life, put his best foot forward and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So when we look at the current state of the South African film and television industry, I mean, it certainly seems to be growing in leaps and bounds, and I'd imagine that part of that is because you've got Netflix, you've got Showmax, you've got the streaming services that are able to consume more content, allow greater creativity, because then it's not about one or two consumers or uptakers. Does this augur well for the industry?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, one of the biggest problems that, you know, I believe actors have is there's always like a couple of stories that you want to be in.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're getting, so now the playing field is a lot larger. You've got a lot more creatives involved in the industry. And you've got a lot of stories that are coming out, obviously, because of that, as a result of that. And so I think, you know, for actors and, you know, storytellers, the storytellers that we are, we always have that vision for a couple of stories in our heads. So in the past, when we started, you know, you didn't have these streaming giants, you can only just be part of certain, you know, stories that are being told, part of somebody else's vision. And so I think now what's happening is because there's a lot of sort of need for content, you know, with the streaming giants, with everyone else. And now the competition is a lot much better. It's higher. And so we're getting a lot of chance to actually kind of, you know, act. But also what's importantly, we're getting stories that are quite more interesting now, because I think, yes, there's just a lot more creatives that are given chance to actually sit down and write and produce.
So does this do a lot more for women, for younger writers, younger producers? Because obviously, if one would imagine that if the uptake is limited to 3 or 4 films a year, then, you know, it's who's been in the business longest, who's got the greatest network. But all of a sudden, you've got a vast array of uptakers. Does it give opportunity much earlier to those that are in the business?
Absolutely. I mean, I was working, this film actually is like a young company. You know, they're kind of just starting out. They've done quite a few things. They're a young company, young director, young producer, female producer. There was a lot of presence of females, you know, on the production side. That's a good thing, you know, because no one is actually set up, you know, ostracized or kept outside of the game. Everybody actually gets to, you know, take part.
So let's talk about what the horizon holds. Any big projects, anything lined up?
You know, I hate to jinx it, talk about it. I'm not the one to actually talk about it, but yeah, well, you know, there's a lot, you know, like as we say, you know, there's so much on the plate for everyone, you know, and once you've established yourself as well, you know, you've made a name for yourself, you know, it becomes even much easier to get into, you know, things for everyone. So right now I'm not working on anything, but yeah.
Cool. So I like to go philosophical as we draw the conversation to.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
So what's your biggest driver? I mean, when Vuyo was sitting there, what's kept you going? When you had that injury and you were in bed, you were recuperating. What was that carrot or was that light at the end of the tunnel that was drawing you or pushing you, for that matter?
Ah man, I think there's a saying, you know, if you know, if you can crawl, then, you know, you can walk, and you can walk, you can run, you know. I believe that as long as you're alive, you know, there's still struggle in you, you know. And, you know, there's nothing, you know, this thing didn't take my life. And that's a sign, you know, that there's a lot more that's in store, you know, for me, you know. And I've never, you know, I've been through a lot, and I've never really been that person that gives up. You know, as long as I've got breath in me, you know, I'll always fight, you know, and keep going. But the biggest thing as well is that there are people that are watching you. You know, whenever you stumble and you fall and you get up, it gives them the permission as well to actually stand up and to know that they can fall. When they fall, they can stand up, you know. I've got a son. You know, I don't care when I make mistakes, it's all good. But he's going to know that, you know, he's got to get up, because also you know, he will make mistakes in life, you know. I've got nephews, I've got family, you know. It's like carrying a torch. When you fall, you show them, okay, you get up, you pick it up, and you keep walking, you know.
Pretty deep stuff. Now, a little while ago we were talking about the Olympics. You've watched a little bit of it. Highlights for you as we wrap?
Well, absolutely. I mean, obviously the silver medal that we got on 4x1. He's been pushing for a medal for a very long time. You know, it reminds me of Frankie Fredericks, I think, from Namibia.
Namibia, correct,
He was always there, but he never got there, you know. But, you know, I certainly grew up with Frankie Fredericks, love him. But to see Sambini cross that barrier for him personally, you know, in his own personal, you know, journey in life, for me, that was exciting. For them to actually compete with like the best of the best of the best in the world, and you know, to carry their own and come second, for me, that was a beautiful thing. You know, congrats to the gents.